Can everybody hear me okay? All right, apparently we have, this might be a limitation of our equipment. If you can't hear me or I'm talking too fast, get my attention. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Summit School Board Deliberative session. At this point in time, I would ask our chair of the school board to lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. So, a lot of people here, as everybody realizes, there's some hot topics to discuss tonight. I would ask everybody to remember to be polite. I've put a set of rules out on both tables. They may be gone, but these are the rules for running the meeting tonight. You are always free to overrule me, but it requires all of you, not just someone that may disagree. So, or 50%. So, I will go through the rules and then we'll proceed with the business. This is a public meeting and by law open to all who want to attend. Generally, only registered voters are allowed to participate in discussion, although I, in my discretion, may allow non-voters to speak. Criteria I'm using for that is property owner. And when you go up to speak, you need to announce yourself and your address. I'm also going to let staff speak for the school board. And no person may speak in the meeting unless I recognize you. Each article will be read from the warrant. As each article is read, there will be a period of time for questions and discussion. As this is a deliberative session only, all articles will be moved to the school board without the need for a motion unless a motion to amend is made, seconded, and passed. All motions to amend an article must be submitted to me in writing. After a motion is seconded, the person making the motion will be recognized to speak. Anyone wishing to speak must come forward and use one of the two microphones provided before speaking. Please state your name and address. All statements should be addressed to the meeting. All questions should be addressed to myself. After the close of the discussion on any motion, there will be a vote on the motion. Amended articles will be rewritten and submitted to the second session on March 10th, 2020. Individuals will be recognized to speak on each article and any seconded motion. Any person who has previously spoken may, at my discretion, be permitted to address the meeting one more time in response to a previous discussion. At any point, a voter who has been recognized by the moderator may request a call of the previous question. The motion must be seconded. The call is not debatable and requires a 2/3 vote of all voters. And this is a motion to cease debate. If adopted, a call of the previous question terminates further discussion and results in an immediate vote on the motion. I will not permit any calls of the question when no discussion or explanation has taken place yet. Negative motions will not be entertained, so all motions must be written in the affirmative. Before any vote, any 5 voters may request in writing a secret yes or no ballot. After any vote, and before transacting any new business, any 7 voters may rise and request a secret yes/no ballot on the previous question. When a secret ballot takes place, you will be asked to go over to the supervisors of the checklist and check in, and they will provide you with ballots. And you'll place your vote in the box on their table. you disagree with anything I say as to conducting the business meeting, you may raise your hand and request recognition and raise your point of disagreement. Any dispute with any ruling I make may be taken to a vote of the entire meeting for resolution, but it does require a majority vote to overrule it. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce our school board. It's Jesse Tyler, as the chair. Scott's Richmond, I'm sorry, I couldn't read my own writing. Ed Anderson, Carrie Clowes, and Andrew Nichols. We also have at the front table Russ Holton, superintendent, Kathy Carroll, the clerk, and Kelly Wessels, a business administrator, who I am going to allow to speak in response to providing some financial information. Again, I would call on everybody to remember to be polite. Let's leave this meeting as maybe still. Thank you. To the inhabitants of the Sunapee District of the town of Sunapee qualified to vote upon district affairs, you are hereby notified to meet at the Sunapee Middle High School Gymnasium located on 10 North Road in Sunapee, New Hampshire on Monday, February 3rd, 2020 at 7 p.m. for the first session of the annual school district meeting to deliberate upon the articles and to meet again at the David W. Sherburne Gymnasium located on Route 11 in Sunapee, New Hampshire on Tuesday, March 10th between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. for the second session of the annual school district meeting to vote by ballot on the following articles. Hello? Is that better? Can everybody hear me still? Yep. Article 1, to choose a moderator, clerk, and a treasurer for 1-year terms, and 2 members of the school board for the ensuing 3 years. Unless anybody has any discussion, I'm going to move that one to the warrant. Article 2, to hear reports of agents, auditors, and committees or officers heretofore chosen. Again, like the first article, I am going to move that one to the warrant. Article 3, shall the district raise and appropriate the sum of $25,600,000 gross budget for the Sunapee Consolidation School Project, which includes constructing and equipping a new elementary school connected to the middle high school, constructing and equipping renovations to the middle high school, renovating existing athletic fields, construction of a new soccer field and a cinder track, and acquiring approximately 6.5 acres of land, part of tax map 123 lot 4, for the field and track, the project, and authorize the issuance of $25,600,000 of bonds or notes in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, RSA Chapter 33, and authorize the school board to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and determine the date, maturities, interest rate, and other details of such bonds or notes, and raise and appropriate an additional sum of $450,489 from taxation for debt service payments due on such bonds or notes during the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year, and authorize the school board to accept on behalf of the district any federal, state, or private funds that may become available with respect to the project. The Sunapee School Board recommends approval. A 3/5 ballot vote will be required. The estimated tax impact is 36 cents on 1,000. If you could.
Andy, Nichols, School Board.
Mr. Nichols, can you state your address?
107 Emily Road, Sunapee, New Hampshire.
Thank you.
I'd like to amend Article 3 to read, shall the district raise and appropriate the sum of $25,600,000 gross budget for the Sunapee Consolidation School Project, which includes constructing and equipping new elementary school connected to the middle high school, constructing and equipping renovations to the middle high school, renovating existing athletic fields, construction of new athletic fields and a cinder track, and acquiring approximately 6.5 acres of land, part of tax map 123, lot 4, the project, and authorize the issuance of $25,600,000 of bonds or notes in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, RSA, Chapter 33, and authorize the school board to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and determine the date of the maturities, interest rate, and other details of such bonds or notes, and raise and appropriate an additional sum of $450,489 from taxation for debt service payments due upon such bonds or notes during the 2020-2021 fiscal year, and authorize the school board to accept on behalf of the district any federal, state, or private funds that may become available with respect to this project.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Mr. Tyler, second to the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Does anybody wish to? Please.
So Jesse Tyler, 7 Dow Lane, Sunapee. You guys hear me all right? So Andy had to read the whole thing for process, but we wanted to make sure that the wording was clear that we're talking about athletic fields. So we say specifically a soccer field, then we list all the different fields. We thought it was better service to voters coming to look at the warrant and understand it, that the driver is really the athletic field. So the soccer, the track, the softball, and fixing the upper field here. So we thought it would be more clear if we covered it under athletic. That's the whole, for just a couple word changes, that's what we have to do in this process.
Is there any discussion on the motion to amend? Does anybody have any questions? See? If someone back there wants, if you could come up here. I don't know who said anything, but seeing no one rise and hearing no further discussion, I'm going to move the motion. All in favor of the amendment as read, and I can read it again for you if you'd like. Okay. Would you like to speak to the question, sir?
Yes, sir.
This is only on the motion to amend.
That includes the tax impact?
I don't believe it's changed the tax impact. This is, I think, somewhat procedural, just to rewrite a few things in the warrant article. You'll have an opportunity to discuss tax impact.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor of the amendment? I guess I better read it for procedural sake. Shall the district raise and appropriate the sum of $25,600,000 gross budget for the Sunapee Consolidation School Project, which includes constructing and equipping a new elementary school connected to the middle high school, constructing and equipping renovations to the middle high school, renovating existing athletic fields, construction of new athletic fields, and a cinder track, and acquiring approximately 6.5 acres of land, part of tax map 123, lot 4, the project. And authorize the issuance of $25,600,000 of bonds or notes in accordance with provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, RSA Chapter 33. And authorize the school board to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and determine the date, maturities, interest rates, and other details of such bonds or notes, and raise and appropriate an additional sum of $450,489 from taxation for debt service payments due on such bonds or notes during the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year, and authorize the school board to accept on behalf of the district any federal, state, or private funds that may become available with respect to the project. All in favor of the motion to amend, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, passes unanimously. Does anyone wish to address the amended warrant article? Sir, do you want to speak to the budget impact, or?
Yeah, thank you.
John Berger, 29 West Shore Road.
Thank you.
The tax impact is estimated in the pamphlet at 36 cents. Does not include any interest payments in the following years, nor does it include any principal amortization. Is there a reason why those are not included?
There's someone from the school board or the superintendent's office that would like to address that. Sorry.
Russ Holden, Superintendent. We have these warrant articles prepared by our attorney and then checked with the RA of the state of New Hampshire. And this is how we were asked to form these warrant articles. To make sure that people understood that we were asking for the first year impact and second year impact. The back table, there was a summarization schedule. Also listed the first year of the budget, and warrant. First year of the budget warrant with interest only, and at the bottom it clearly indicates the impact of the second year of the budget impact of the principal and interest payment.
May I ask a follow-up, please? Is there a regulatory reason why that cannot be included as part of the article, or as an attachment to the article? Did bond counsel say you cannot do that?
Yeah, so we are raising and appropriating the 2021 budget, not the 21-22. And so we are raising that tax for the 2021, not the 2022. So that's the fiscal year that we're actually talking about tonight. We're not projecting that out, it's an estimate. So you can't project that out that far. Put that on the warrant as a tax.
And that's, state regulations do not allow you to do that?
That's how we've been told to prepare the warrant.
Well, I would suggest to bond counsel, they might want to consider changing that.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the amended Article 3? Please.
Hi, Arlene Adams, 15 Central Street. The interest rate that you have on the amortization schedule is 5%. Is that from the bond bank for the interest-only period?
Thank you.
Again, on the back of the summarization schedule, the interest rate is 3.5%.
No, it says at the bottom.
Well, our interest rate is right up here on the top of the page that we handed out, which is at 3.5%.
I understand that, but at the bottom it says when budgeting the first year's interest payments, take the bond amount times 5% divided by 2.
Our interest rate is 3.5%.
So the bond bank has committed to that figure?
That is a high estimate that the bond bank gives us. The bond bank gave out $20 million notes in January, and they came in at 1.8%.
And so the actual tax impact, though, the first year is for the interest only, right?
Correct.
So
$450,489.
approximately, assuming that you have half of the amount out for half a year. So after that, the tax impact is actually gonna go up to 2.07% per thousand.
That is the projected estimated tax impact, yes.
Okay, so that's a little deceiving when you're reading the warrant article, and you look at what they have for tax impact for $100 or $200 or $300,000 house. It really is gonna be not 36 cents, but $2.07. Is that correct?
On the second year, the
The
estimated
second year and the
second-
subsequent years will be double.
Second year of the tax impact is estimated right now based upon current property assessed value, based upon our current budget, and based upon the 3.5% at $2.07. There are a lot of variables in there that could change up or down,
Oh, I understand.
right? And it's not
That's
trying to be
understandable.
misleading, why we try to give a lot of that information out, and we projected that $2.07 all along. Again, putting this warrant together, this is how we've been instructed to do that, considering we're raising and appropriating those funds for the 2021 school year.
I understand what bond counsel would have said and your lawyers, but in the flyers that have gone out, don't you think it would have been more appropriate to show people what the true amount was gonna be per thousand in subsequent years?
This information has been on our website. We do have another flyer coming out before the bond, and it would have the tax impact on there as well for the 2021 and the 21-22. So
That's a little
we've been
disingenuous.
pretty transparent, I think, about putting the information.
Sorry, but I disagree. I don't think people were thinking that it's gonna cost me 36 cents per thousand for the school thing, and it's not. It's gonna be $2.07, possibly higher, possibly lower. So I think, is that information gonna come out before the vote? And a flyer from the school district?
The information is out now, and yes, we have another flyer coming out hopefully before the vote, which we plan on putting in the tax impact both for year one and year two if passed.
I believe the chair would like to, of the school board would like to address that too.
Thank you for being here and challenging us and asking questions. When the board has talked about it, Andy and I are on the subcommittee. The only reference we've made to tax impact has been 207 per thousand when in any discussion around it. The key thing for everybody here to understand, we can't do the financing unless we get 60% and this passes. So we have elected to come forward with a 15-year note on 3.5%, which is what we got from bond counsel at the time. Again, Mr. Oldham referenced the one that was under 2%. That's great that that happened in January. We don't feel that it's appropriate to suddenly jump to that. We need to go within the guidelines that we have, return the same language that gets used in any New Hampshire community. But it's important for all voters to understand, or all the taxpayers to understand, the 207 per 1,000 that we have been talking about and will continue to talk about is if we at a public meeting decide to do that 15-year note at whatever interest rate that'll be. Hopefully it's less, as an example from January, it's significantly less. That would be great in all of our favor as taxpayers. But the board can't commit to that vehicle, whatever it is, whether it's a bond, private financing, or otherwise. All of that discussion will happen in public at board meetings and committee meetings for all of you to be able to be at. We just can't get to certain things until the warrant passes. So the questions are reasonable. We just want you to know that we came back to reduce interest. Our intent is to have the shortest loan possible at what are some very low, record low bond rates. I hope that helps inform the legislative body.
I think that people misunderstand that if we're looking at 36 cents and they don't understand it's really not for the full amount. So I'm just saying, if you just looked at it this way, I don't think people fully understand what you're saying the impact will be.
And we appreciate that feedback. And again, so that I'm not repeating, you're not repeating the same point. We've only talked in public and shared the 207. That's the only money reference that we've had. So we are going right at that. We've done our absolute level-headed best to have the most transparent process possible. An outcome of that is using the bond as quoted, not the potentially lower rate that we might be able to get if this passes, and making sure people understand on a $300,000 home example, this could be $621 more. It'd be great if it's a little bit less, but we can't come to you with that hope and that potential. It's not responsible.
And that's just with construction, it's not the school budget or anything. So on top of everything
Yeah, the school budget is the next warrant article with a 0.47 increase. That can be talked about when that's done, and
Thank you.
Aaron runs us there. Sorry.
Is there anybody else who has something to say to Article 3 as amended? Just come to the mic and stand near it, and I'll recognize you. Don't have to-
Rob Simpson, 53 Rabbit Corner Road, Suffolk. On that same topic, I want to ask a clarification question because I'm also concerned that this is the document that went to every household. It says 36 cents per 1,000. The last two flyers that came out did not reference any tax impact whatsoever. So the voters that might show up and may not have internet access to get the 207 and may not have the access to get that pamphlet tonight may be voting on a commitment where they think it's 36 cents per 1,000. So when we vote on March 10th, they may not have seen anything other than this official document that says 36 cents. And they've been talking to friends about the school and what a great idea it's going to be. So when we vote on March 10th to raise the sum of $450,489, are we then locked in to this $25 million plan? And if that is the case, then we need to amend this to have a second year impact and beyond of 2.07 per 1,000 on the document while people are voting.
All amendments must be in writing. Just reminding you, certainly make your statements to the meeting. You don't need to make them to me. If you have questions, you can certainly make them to me, and I will ask someone to address them. And do you want your question to address? You had a question.
One question. The basic question is, when all of the voters in Sunapee vote on March 10th, and this passes by 3/5, we are now committed to a $25,600,000 improvement project at some level. Is that a true statement?
I believe it is.
Yeah. Then I'd like to add this amendment to that amendment. I can read that whole thing and put it at the bottom to include estimated tax impact.
Actually, we'll get you a copy, and you can write out what additional language. The amendment has to be in writing.
Okay, that's in writing.
But that's not the, where am I, so I'm gonna guess that it's only at the bottom of the document?
Right. Right below where it says estimated tax impact year 1, it says 36 cents. It's basically adding a line below the 36 cents per 1,000. But I don't know how you can commit people to 36 cents and then the next year it's 207.
So, I appreciate the motion, but the portion of the warrant article you're talking about amending is actually not part of the warrant.
Excellent. Then we should be able to add that.
Naturally, you can't, because these provisions have to be adopted by the school board. The school board may be willing to amend, I don't know. But I think they're having a caucus.
Okay, so we have two ways we can go forward with this. So the board can go ahead and have a discussion, and you can sit there and watch us doing that. Dawn, in your time here, I'm suggesting that we hear from you on whether you want to have the board amend the warrant to say 207. Gentlemen, I'm sorry, Mr. Opposed. Does that give you?
I think, does anybody oppose listening to the school board discuss this for a few minutes, hopefully? Please?
We good? We can go right after this.
Yes.
I just want to acknowledge you're all sitting here. So, can you hear me down up front? So, I'm taking that as a signal from the legislative body that they're happy to watch us go through. We all good?
That's
I don't
correct.
want to disrupt the meeting, I want to be good
It
participants.
is their meeting and that is their wish.
Okay, so the board can hear me. Or so you can hear me talking to the board, I should say. So, gentlemen here made the motion to include the 207 per thousand into the language of the warrant. So,
Can I correct, I think it's to be added to the parentheticals at the end of the warrant,
yeah, sorry, thank you for that.
not into the warrant?
For the bottom, in the italics there, okay? Correct. Okay, we're all back on the same page again. Democracy is always a fast process. So, to the board, this is all we've been talking about in every meeting and in every exchange. So I want to make a motion to you as the board to add this as written to the end of Article 3 to include the estimated tax impact year 2 of $2.07 per thousand. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second for that? I made a motion, second from Ed. So now we got discussion. You're over there, the mic's over here. We're gonna get some steps in. Any discussion that you want to have about adding this to the end to honor that request? Carrie?
Can everybody hear me? Yeah. So if we're gonna add language to do that, I think you need to also add language that does not imply that that 207 is going to be 207 for the life of the bond. It needs to be clear that it's on a declining scale over the term of the bond.
So, great point. The way to read it as written, as handed from him, is estimated tax impact year 2, 207. Am I hearing from you that you want to add additional clarification that this is just for year 2 because it doesn't reflect that it will likely decelerate over time?
So then how do I declare it?
That's as far out as we can go. We can't go over the next year's budget anyway, but if we're able to point out what we've been saying, estimate on year 2,
suggest you read how you would like to amend your motion.
I would like to read to you how I'm gonna take everything that he wrote and add only to it. Get ready for only, that's my addition. To include estimated tax impacts year 2 only, $2.07 per thousand. Does that work for the board? Because then they're gonna weigh in
May I
on
suggest a revision?
What's that?
Only for year 2, not 2-year only.
Only year 2. Only for year 2. You know when you think it's sort of you're in a circle and you want to get your way out of it? Estimated tax impact for year 2 only. 207 per thousand.
If you could hold on a second, Mr. Dillon. Is there a second to his motion?
We're forward first, then we go back to what we're saying. Do I have a second that we're saying only for year 2? Or doesn't like it. So we appreciate the comment. And
Ted, this isn't our meeting.
the board, if you couldn't hear them up front, the board is concerned we're gonna unintentionally add more confusion. We got advice from the bond council to write this a certain way because we can only go one budget year at a time. We have been talking consistently about the 207. The points and concerns that you bring up are legitimate, but if we go to listen to the public and add this and cause more confusion, then we are setting ourselves back. So I don't have the support for my motion from the board.
Might I suggest that the board consider this language or some variation of it for inclusion in the warrant? It's your decision, obviously.
To be worked out in this moment,
It doesn't have to be worked out now,
Yeah.
just so we can move on. I think what I'm hearing is you're willing to try to accommodate the request.
yeah,
This may not be the place to debate and work it out.
it's definitely not feeling like it. So we will,
I'm going to take back the meeting at this point in time.
we're considering it. Thank you for this out. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I would happily agree with that.
Thank you. All right, is there any further discussion on Article 3 as amended? Mr. Gallo? No.
Ted Gallup, Sergeant Road, 54 Sergeant Road. Aaron, that writing will not be on the article when you walk behind the curtain. They don't allow that.
It has no legal effect. It's not considered
It
part.
won't even be on the ballot. The 36 cents won't be on the ballot. It's only in this informational thing. So I think what Mr. Simpson wanted to do is he wanted to maybe have them maybe do a flyer or something to the people so that they get that information, because the state they don't allow that. Just to kind of make it a little simpler.
That's probably a helpful suggestion.
And we appreciate that, and our next flyer spells this out with the 207 and it's going to all homes in Sunapee. So, didn't work for tonight, but that's been our intent. And again, that flyer is already in process and is coming to all of you, that'll have all that information.
Mr. Augustine?
John Augustine, 258 Stagecoach Road, Sunapee. First, thank you all for coming. You deserve credit for being here regardless of whether you stand as a yes or a no on any of these issues, because you'll be the most informed people in town. You should take credit for that. Recently, I was speaking with someone who does not live in Sunapee about the school situation. I told him that last year the request was for 26 million, and 60% of the voters said no. And this year the request is for 25.6 million. This person told me that when he was a teenager, he walked behind a mule, and the mule kicked him. He said it really hurt, but that he learned a valuable lesson, and as a result of that experience, he has never walked behind a mule again. When 60% of the voters said no to the $26 million request, that should have felt like getting kicked by a mule. It seems like no lessons have been learned from last year's overwhelming no vote. There's a difference between giving others the chance to speak and actually listening. Listening doesn't involve just not speaking while someone else is talking. Listening involves really trying to understand what the other person is saying and taking it to heart, even if you don't like what the other person is saying. You don't have to agree with what other people say, but I believe that you should put yourself in the other person's shoes and try to understand their point of view. Otherwise, you just have two people talking at each other rather than talking with each other. Seek first to understand before trying to be understood. For me, I believe most of the other people who plan to vote no on this $25.6 million request, it is the tax impact that is the problem. But instead of accepting the tax impact as the obstacle, it seems like the people who plan to vote yes are simply disregarding our feelings and rationalizing that it must be because we are either uninformed or just bad people. I assure you that most of us are informed and that we are not bad people. So no matter how many mailings you send or how many social media posts you make that talk only about why you are right, you are not going to change our minds because you are failing to acknowledge why we feel the way we feel. You are talking at us rather than trying to work with us to find a compromise solution. So rather than increasing the frequency and the volume of your comments on why the tax impact shouldn't matter, I suggest you spend your time and energy on finding savings in other areas that will offset the tax impact associated with the construction project. Or, if you do not want to seek out savings in other areas, you could put your time and energy toward fundraising that would offset the tax impact. Tell me what you are going to do to help yourself, rather than just asking others to hand it to you on a silver platter. In closing, I ask that you think about how you are going to act over the next 6 weeks, and how you are going to act if the vote does not go the way you want. Because I was shocked at how some people behaved when the article was defeated last year. Some of you literally tracked people down in public and berated them for voting no. It felt like a lynch mob. In hindsight, those people who voted no last year should have been thanked, because if last year's article had passed, we would be saddled with that terrible plan. So if the vote doesn't go your way this year, please keep in mind that next year, you're going to need those people who didn't vote your way in 2020 to vote your way in 2021 if we are ever going to bring this process to an end. Berating people in public or mocking them on social media is not a good strategy for persuading those individuals to see things your way.
Sir?
Hi, my name is Kevin Cooney, 56 Apple Hill Road. And John and I have talked many times over the last few years about this issue, so I think we both listen and we both have a point of view. This issue about taxes and the tax rate is one that I don't fully understand. As I said last year, we have the 10th lowest tax rate in New Hampshire. Not the 89, not the 110. Of 231 cities and towns, we have the 10th lowest. Do you really feel overtaxed? Really? I mean, I guess you wouldn't vote for something that was $6 million. I don't know. But when you got the 10th lowest, you get something good going for you as a community. And Article 3 is not merely a tax bill, okay? If it is approved, it will continue the covenant of culture, caring, and community, which we have built in this community for many, many years. My wife and I have lived here for over 35 years. We've always been willing to pay our fair share of taxes. We've done that to advance the community forward, whether it was police department, the fire department, the town office, the average library, or whatever other good cause that made us a better community. And 33 years have passed since we voted to improve the educational system for our children who go to our elementary school every year. This bond issue is not the one from last year. It's a nice reference point, but it's not the bond issue from last year. In addition, for the same price, we're improving all of the defective situations in our elementary school, in our high school, where we now sit. Plus the athletic fields, where 6 months ago, our high school students could play on because they were insufficient. They practiced in here, not on the field. They practiced in here. So if we want to invest in our community, and in our high school, and our elementary school, this bond issue gets us all of that for the same situation. In my own case, using the numbers, which cannot be finite at this point in time because we don't know what the bond is going to pass or what the tax rate is going to be, but it would cost me approximately $650 a year, $13,000 over 20 years. I hope that in 20 years from now, my house is worth more than $13,000 that it is today. But I can tell you this, if we lose the high school, if we move it out as some people want, tuition away our children, my home value will go down 25, 30, or 40% within a year. I don't understand this tax issue. I know some people pay more than others. I don't pay as much as many, but I pay my fair share. And that's all I would ask you to consider. When you're looking at this community as your community, consider paying your fair share, chipping in, and moving beyond this issue which has been with us for 33 years. Ladies and gentlemen, the 21st century is here.
Are there any more comments or questions? This is your opportunity, folks. If this is a divisive war, I think you may want to consider being a little more proactive tonight. That means considering how you could rewrite it if it is needs rewriting. But this, after tonight, it's just an up and down vote.
Sean Carroll, 5 Alcohol Road, Sunapee. I think Kevin reached a few good points there as far as what's keeping this community together. I'm very fortunate that my parents brought us to Sunapee in the same manner that everybody else has pretty much been to Sunapee, or they've gotten here one way or the other. Whether you approve it, or you are for it or against it, that's one thing. But I've been around the country, the U.S., and New Hampshire a lot to see the makeup of how communities work. Been fortunate enough in my business to be able to see, what builds the communities, what actually makes them dissolve. Been to a number of different things, school board meetings in different towns, just to see how they operate. Sunapee's unique. Don't have to go into it too far, but Sunapee's unique in the point that the way you do pay for the school is probably not the best method that we have in New Hampshire. Other states have a better way to, what they feel is a better way. We have to do it through taxes, so it's tough. The one thing that is hard for Sunapee, we do have a lake, which everybody praises us about, because that seems to pay for all our problems or new things that we want, but it's not that way. To me, there's always been a balance between the people offshore and onshore, and I think we all work together. I think it's great. A lot of the other towns a lot of them have bedrooms where that will pay for it, like Newport, New London. We have regional schools where all those outlying towns help pay for what they've got going. Newport in particular has a lot of tenement houses, a lot of bedroom counts. So that's one way of getting that bill funded and getting the student ratio down so they can pay for it, so it's a little bit cheaper number. But we don't do that in Sunapee. Most of the people that have the big properties are hanging on to them. Maybe they're doing it for their own purpose, maybe they're doing it for their family's purpose. So we don't have the luxury of being able to come around and saying, hey, Jolly, why don't we grab a couple hundred acres and start making something so we can actually afford to have more people in this school. We know that more pupils, more students are going to make the price go down. We actually know it. But there's a balance that somebody's always wanted ever since I lived here, and I think it's a good balance. Now, you may have to reach in your pocket a little more to get there, but I think it's a good thing that we've got going here. I think Kevin's right. This is a deal where if the school board finally gives up and doesn't bring us another thing because this year we decide it's no good or we don't want to do it, then the ultimate choice is where are the kids going to go? Now, my kids have already been through the school. I've been through the school. My kids are gone. They're not in the school anymore like my grandkids are over here. But it's a big choice now whether or not we want to let this thing go. Because it isn't any turning back. Because once you empty one of these schools out, it's not coming back. And I think we've done, in the past years, we've done a nice job on getting this facility where it is, where all the facilities are to maintain what we have. So, are we going to go through a little more rough edges here or not? Probably will. But the student population isn't going down. Look at it from the 1985 master plan that's laid out, and I'm talking about Hardbrook. It has the right amount of students for right now today in it, and what they talked about back in that day. So we're heading in the direction that we're supposed to be heading. The town is heading in the right direction. But, I'm 59. If this town goes to hell, then that's all right. I mean, we'll just move on. But I don't think we should really take a hard look at what we're doing here, because this could be the final straw. And I would hate to see this community get broken up. We don't have enough huge things to bring us together. We have the school, we've got a couple of things up at the churches, we've got the Seams group, fire department, so the limit is what we have. A lot of these other towns have more things to offer that pull people together, that keeps the system going. We don't have a lot, but we have each other here. And yeah, it's a big number, but guess what? Think about it tonight. It's going to go away if we do not get somewhere. So, thanks for listening.
Sir?
Harry Tedder, 11 Heritage Drive. I commend the CIP for this year's transparent process to develop the proposed school project. The end result is a proposal beyond the original primary focus to improve the elementary school education facility. There are add-ons included in this warrant article that go beyond the crucial needs of the elementary school and reduce the probability of a favorable vote at the 60% level. Additional important questions remain unanswered. What are the prospective operating savings at the new pre-K-12 campus? Working together with the town and other school districts, are there other cost-effective field solutions? What to do with the old elementary school? Are there tangible contributions to the project from the directly benefited school community? Just to name a few. I support providing the best possible public school education for the Sunapee children at an affordable cost to the majority taxpayer community. Should the vote for the proposed warrant article fall short in March, let's remove or resolve the several other outstanding issues and focus efforts on the critical elementary school needs. Thank you.
Caitlin Clark, 169 Brookhaven Hill Road. And just to answer a couple of questions about the support from the parents and teachers of the school. I'm a member of the Sunapee Parent Teacher Association, and I know that we've already talked about fundraising efforts that we can start should this vote pass. We also have existing funds in our budget now that we would allot to this project, should this vote passes.
Arlene Adams, that's 15 Central Street. I've been listening to all these speeches, and I also want to say that I support the Sunapee schools. I always have. I've been in the PTO, I was on the school board, and was the chair in 2006. And I think we have wonderful schools, and we do need to do something. I guess what I'm saying is, why don't we do this in stages? Go from what is critical and necessary, and do it in one stage, and then do up to what we would like to have, such as having a nice oval track with lights and a cinder running stage. I don't know what else there is. But if we can address some of the major issues, maybe in one stage, and then work on getting the other things done, instead of presenting us with a $26 million project, why don't you do it in increments? And then that also makes me wonder about the financing. I mean, if you've gone to the bond bank, is this a tax exempt rate? I know that local banks can only lend up to $10 million a year and be tax exempt. And I don't know if you've approached any of the local banks to even talk about it. But it does worry me a little bit. And also we know that interest rates, if you go for 15 years, is it a fixed rate? Or is it going to be variable? I don't remember seeing anything about that also. And what happens if we have overruns? You run into a piece of granite that they have to dig out of the ground, and that's going to cost us more. Do we have it can only go up to amount? What happens if there are overruns? And what if it lasts more than a year for construction? The other thing that bothers me is that if we have kids that are tuitioning in from other school districts, the state's only going to pay us a certain amount of money. And I saw somewhere, and I may be incorrect, that it was like $33,000 per son of each child. And the state's not going to pay anywhere near that amount for a child that gets tuitioned in. So for every child tuitioned in, it's going to cost us. And I don't see how the taxes and, you know, when New London went to have a consolidated high